Hey folks, absolutely crazy information coming out from Questrade this week that will give Wealthsimple and other brokers in the market an absolute run for their money. And today we're going to talk all about those changes and how it could potentially impact your investing future. My name's Darren and I started this channel to help out other beginner investors because guess what? 20 months ago, that was me starting from scratch at the age of 50. And in that time, I built a portfolio that's worth $330,000. I've opened brokerage accounts, I set up asset allocations, I've purchased stocks, and I've even made some mistakes that I share with you through my investing journey. My videos are structured to document my journey from when I started. The original reason was for me to show you taking my TFSA from zero to maxing that account out and then everything in between. But in the meantime, I built up a massive library of videos. So in today's video, we're going to look at my portfolio, buy a few stocks, and then we're going to talk about the main subject, which is this amazing news from Questrade. So the account's sitting at $174,418. My Wealthsimple account, which is my primary broker, is set up with 4 different accounts. It has my cash account, my kids' RESP, my RRSP, and my TFSA, which I said is the main focus of the channel and why I started it. Now, my cash account is my emergency fund. Anybody getting started in investing should probably look at doing something like this. And so that's what I did, and I started it with Wealthsimple. So we have $20,000 sitting in there that's earned $54 in interest over the past month, which is January. And it earns 3.25% in interest. But of course, the Bank of Canada has been cutting rates, and these types of accounts are subject to change when the rates have been cut. So it's slowly been deteriorating over time. But it's still making me money because when I started out investing, I was banking with TD and they charged me a heck of a lot of money to hold accounts with them. And when I switched over to Wealthsimple, I started generating income for this type of money instead of putting it with a big bank where it didn't really earn a lot of money. Now, the next part of my account is my kids' RESP. We have 2 kids. So there's $80,600 sitting in this account. And by the time they graduate at 18, which will be in about 7 to 8 years, they'll have about $482,000 to split between the 2 of them. And of course, we're going to continue to add to that. Now, if you have kids, you want to get started with this really early. One of the biggest mistakes that we made when we started was we just put money away into an RESP thinking that was what you would do, get your government grants. But at the end of the day, you can make this money grow for you. And I did do a video on RESPs that if you're a parent and you want to learn more, you should watch that video because it will help explain everything. Now, this account is a robo account and it is managed by Wealthsimple. But I do pay a fairly low fee because of the tier we're in. And I did a video to explain what the tiers are and all about Wealthsimple. It will pop up on the screen as I'm talking. So if you want to learn more about that stuff, check that video out because it explains how to save money when you're using Wealthsimple. So the net deposits in the account are $62,646. The returns on the account are $17,944. So that's how much it's grown since we opened it. The rate of return is 28.64%. Now, we do pay a small fee for this to manage the account, which is monthly, and it works out to be about $28 every single month. So in my view, not a very big amount of money. Now, to add to that, I originally wanted to manage this account myself, but unfortunately, Wealthsimple doesn't add DIY accounts so that you can manage it yourself. But of course, you have to realize that Wealthsimple does need to make some money along the way. So if I look at it and I think, well, I'm paying money to DIY all my other accounts, then that of course means that the small fee that I'm paying for one account could be spread across the others. It just depends on how you look at it. My RRSP is sitting at $20,501. Over the last day, it's down $26. Over the last week, it's down $94. Over the last month, it's up $396, which is about 1%. Over the last 3 months, it's up $1,172 or 6%. And over the last year, up $3,842. All-time returns up $4,781. It's important to note that I don't make any contributions to this account. The strategy right now is to use the TFSA as the primary investing account because it's after-tax dollars. And I have a spousal RRSP that's set up that I cost share or split money with my wife. So I make the contributions into that account. And then, of course, she gets to take that out later in life at a little bit lower tax rate because I do make a little bit more money than she does. And this will leave room in my RRSP at some point if we want to make contributions to it. The other advantage of a TFSA is that, let's say I wanted to take some money out, it is available to me. So let's say I had to take out, let's say, $1,000. And the ideal time to do that would be towards the end of the year, because when you take that money out of your TFSA, you lose that room for the remainder of the year. So the ideal time would be to take it out towards the end of the year, pay, say, your property tax or something along those lines. And then, of course, what you can do is then, as soon as it's into the new tax year, you then get that room back and you can continue tributing it. So it's essentially, I view it kind of like a bit of a bank account. So I'm investing my money, it's earning interest over time, and then I can actually get access to it. With the RRSP, there are some tax implications, and we don't want to do that right now. So this account for now just sits, and I have DRIP set up. So the securities that I purchased in there are, when the dividends come back in, they're reinvested right back into those securities. All right, jumping into the TFSA, it's at $52,250, and over the last day, it's down $85. Over the last week, it's up $112. Over the last month, it's up $1,149. Over the last 3 months, it is up $2,047. And over the last year, it's up $7,071, which is 15%. And all-time returns on the account, $8,706, which is 20%. There's only $1.39 sitting in here, but if you've been following me, you know that I'm going to drop in $1,000 and we're going to buy some stocks with that money. The nice new feature that Wealthsimple has is it's now showing you how much you've contributed. So this year we've contributed $2,339 to this TFSA, and of course that will continue to grow as we add to it every year, as this is the account that I'm looking to max out. I have stock lending turned on. Essentially that just means that someone borrows my shares to short another stock, and by doing so I get a small amount of money in return. To date, I've only earned $4.01, but if I didn't have it turned on, I wouldn't be using it. I am a long-term investor, so I don't intend on selling any of these positions at any time, so really there's no impact to me on that. Okay, so today we're going to be using Passiv. Passiv is the tool that helps me track all of my dividends, my investments, everything in one place. And of course, because I'm a Questrade user, it is free, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the latter part of the video when we talk about some of the benefits of Questrade. But as a Wealthsimple customer, I can also link my account, and so Passiv becomes the place that I'm able to connect everything. And so through Passiv, I've set up an asset allocation, which is simply the percentage of the securities that I want to purchase over time. And it keeps a track of that through a percentage. So we can see here the accuracy on that right now is 97%. Now I've dropped in my $1,000, so you can see we have $1,005 sitting in there. Now this year, I've decided to start adding a little bit more over time. So last year, it started off way in the early part of the year, where I think I was sitting around $500 contributions every 2 weeks when I got paid. We've increased that to $1,000. But of course, this year we're in a new year, and so now we're going to start increasing that. So all they've been doing is adding $1 each pay period to the amount we're adding. We're up to $1,005. And then after I make my purchases, if there's a little bit of money left in the account, I'll actually use my linked account, which is EQ Bank, because EQ Bank is the bank that we use. And I'll drop in enough money to purchase one remaining stock with the money that's left in there when we're all done. So the total value you can see is $53,254 with that $1,000 dropped into it. All right, so the first thing we're going to buy is 2 shares of HYLD, 2 shares of QQC, 4 shares of REI, 2 shares of VFV, 4 shares of VRE, 3 shares of XEC, 2 shares of XEF, 5 shares of XEI, and 2 shares of XIC. And again, this is all calculated based on the amount of money. So Passiv looks at the current share price and says, here's what you should buy to meet your asset allocation. And I go ahead and I make those purchases. And then of course, the next video that we come out with, you'll see what the results were over the last week. Now, if you want to get started with Passiv, there is a charge if you want the elite version, which has a variety of different parts to it that help you as an investor. They do have a free version, so you don't actually need to use that one. But if you want to get started using Passiv either in the free or elite version, I do have a link in the video description below. If you use the link, I get a small kickback for you using it. It doesn't cost you anything. I also have the same thing for Wealthsimple if you're looking to get started there, or Questrade and EQ Bank. Check out the video description below. So I was sitting on the couch the other day doing some research, kicking back, drinking some coffee, and I jumped into my Questrade account and this popped up on the screen. Baffled by what I was looking at, because I've been a Questrade user for quite some time, I had to look at it a little bit further. So going back in my video series, you'll see that I had a Questrade account way back when, in 2023 when I started. I have my spousal account there, which still exists and also gives me the ability to use Passiv for free. But I also had my wife's RRSP over there. And one of the big stumbling blocks was the fact that there was a lot of fees that Wealthsimple didn't charge. And so I took the opportunity to move my account from Questrade over to Wealthsimple, and Wealthsimple actually comped me the $150 transfer fee. So effectively, it didn't really cost me anything at all. And I was able to use my Wealthsimple account to start doing trading for free. But of course, as you can see by what popped up on the screen, Questrade has got my attention. It made me sit back and rethink a lot about the platform that I might be using. So let's jump in and go over the changes that they've made and how that could potentially impact my portfolio. DIY is gaining a lot of traction as far as investing goes, and Questrade saw an opportunity to try and help you keep money in your pocket and compete with other brokerages on the market. And as of February 9th, they are introducing zero fee trading, and that is an absolute game changer. Wealthsimple took the stage when it came to this, and a lot of people moved from Questrade over to Wealthsimple in order to take advantage of this. However, I think this is going to level the playing field as far as that goes. So when I started out with Questrade, I was charged a fee in order to do trades. So breaking that down, if I was going to buy a single stock position such as TELUS, no matter how much I was purchasing or how many shares I was buying, I was getting charged $5 to make the purchase. And when I wanted to sell those shares, I was being charged $5 in order to sell those. Now, when it comes to ETFs, they didn't charge anything to purchase. They only charged to sell, and that again was a $5 fee. When you purchased ETFs back then, they did charge what's called an ECN fee. The ECN fee is essentially a fee in order to use the network, in order to connect the brokerage to the stock market in order to make that trade. They would get charged a small fee by the provider in order to do that. Now, fast forwarding to this announcement that Questrade has made, these things are a thing of the past. Like I said, this is going to flip things on its head. Wealthsimple is going to get a run for its money as a result of this. So you can see here that if you want to buy stocks with Questrade, it's free. If you want to sell stocks, it's free. ETFs are free. There is no ECN charge anymore for any of those purchases. Now, if you're doing options trading, it does cost 99 cents a contract. However, if you're trading at certain levels, it actually drops down to 75 cents. And of course, you can see here if you're trading in international equities that there are a fee that is charged for those. However, what is going to affect you most likely, or at least in my case, right, because this is affecting my account, is that I would be able to buy and sell things. Now, currently, my only account that I hold with Questrade right now is my spousal RRSP. And as you know, I recently opened up a new spousal RRSP with Wealthsimple to take advantage of the no-fee trading. Now, this is going to change things for me, and I'm going to have to give this some serious consideration. The reason for this is that Wealthsimple's spousal RRSP does not allow me to put US funds in unless I convert them at their rate of 1.5%. However, if I was to move that account over to Questrade, I would not be charged any fees, and I could use Norbert Gambit in order to convert funds and save on those conversion fees. So this is something that I'm going to have to give some serious consideration to over the next little while. Now, something as a DIY investor that really is going to inhibit your ability to sort of get into some positions, whether they're stocks or ETFs, is the actual cost of the shares. Let's take Constellation Software as an example. It trades at $4,877. For the average DIY investor with a small portfolio, this is something that is completely not reachable. However, with Wealthsimple, you could be trading in fractions because they offer fractional trades. Well, good news, Questrade is actually going to be offering this. You can see on their website here that they have a link that you need to join a wait list. I've actually added myself to that wait list because I would like to take advantage of that. Again, my portfolio at $330,000, while I'm very proud of it, is not very big. I'm not there going to be moving the needle as far as their overall assets under management as far as Questrade goes. But for me, this is big because it'll allow me to purchase some stocks that I haven't been able to, and I'll show you on my spreadsheet what I'm referring to. All right, so here is my overall look at my spousal RRSP and Questrade as it stands today. You can see that all of the shares are rounded, right? They're whole numbers. Well, that's because they've never offered fractional trades. And of course, we can see here, if we scroll over to the DRIP portion, on my Canadian securities, the top three being XEI, XEQT, and HYLD, I have them past that point of where they'll actually earn another share. So when I get my dividends, I'm purchasing another share. So in the case of XEI, I'm purchasing 1.47 shares, 2.3. But with Questrade, it's never been that way with fractional shares. So I'm only buying one every month. Every month with XEI, and with XEQT it would be every quarter. I'm buying two because I haven't got to the second. When I have 1.47, I don't have two shares to purchase because the dividend doesn't reach that. But with the new setup that Questrade will have, I will actually be able to buy that. And when you look at one of the positions I have here as far as banks go, which is TD, again, it's inhibited my ability to have the drip set up because I don't have enough. The same is true with REI and VRE, but now whatever the dividend that comes back, I can set it up to drip it right back in that security if I want to. And as if that wasn't enough, of course, they want to venture into the stock lending side of things, just like Wealthsimple does. You guys know, if you look at my portfolio, that I've earned $4.01 for lending out stocks to other people. Well, Questrade is going to be offering this in the near future, which shows up on their website as well. Now, the last big benefit about using Questrade, which is one of the biggest reasons that a lot of investors like to use it, and I mentioned it earlier, is the ability in order to convert funds from Canadian to US and then purchase stocks or ETFs with US funds. And to do that, you're journaling your shares, better known as Norbert Gambit. Starting February the 9th, there won't be any fees or commissions with respect to journaling your money, but that's not going to last forever. Now, one of the other big changes that they're instituting right now is previously you would have to actually contact Questrade either with their online chat or call them or email them, and then they would process the transaction for you to journal your shares from the Canadian version to the US version, or vice versa if you're doing it the other way. But now they have it set up that you can actually do it yourself, and they have step-by-step instructions laid out on their website in order to do that. Now, because of this, and because I opened up my other spousal RRSP account with Wealthsimple, I have really been thinking a lot about moving that Wealthsimple account to Questrade and starting up using Questrade again as far as the spousal accounts go at any rate, because right now in my covered call experiment that I'm doing, or case study, I'm not able to purchase any US funds on the covered call side of things. So something I'm really going to give some consideration to. So what it says on their website is that there will be no processing fees to journal or use Norbert Gambit with Questrade from now until April 1st of 2025, and then after April 1st of 2025 there will be a $9.95 fee in order to complete this. Now, that may sound like a lot of money, but in reality it's still the same as it was previously. So if I wanted to journal my shares, I'd get charged $5 to purchase the Canadian version, and then I get charged $5 in order to sell them. So effectively it was $10, which is the same as the $9.95 fee that you see that they're going to be charging. So the key here is that if you want to actually convert your money using Norbert Gambit and Questrade, you need to do it before April 1st. But if you don't know how to do that, you need to watch this video right here.